It looks like we don't quite have a quorum yet. We're going to go ahead and start. However, this is an informational hearing. And just I know we've all been on lots of Zoom meetings. We've talked about how many we've already had today, but just as a reminder, this is an official recorded hearing. And of course, please be patient. If I don't see you, don't call on you. Please just keep trying to get my attention or get to Jillian or Greg or Ed so they can get my attention so we can make sure that we get your voice on the record. I will try to watch those blue hands on the side. So if I could ask you to raise your hand, that will keep them in order. And if you raise that blue hand and lower it a few times, the off and on of that should also flag my attention. I'm going to only look at those hands. I was getting confused when I would look at some on the screen and some over of the raised blue hand. So I do want to get to those blue hands. And I see Senator Uyghur's hand. He might be just checking it out. I got it, Senator Uyghur. Very good. So be sure, members, to mute yourself when you're not speaking. We're ready to start. Members, today we are going to hear 3 bills, and the bills are being heard for informational purposes. No votes will be taken. Our first vote is Senate File 3475. Senator Anderson, would you like to make some opening comments?
Sure. Well, thank you, Madam Chair and members. This is a pretty straightforward, easy bill, but under current law, school boards with a referendum on the ballot are required to send a notice by mail to each taxpayer in the school district with a notice of the referendum and the proposed tax increase included. So the law currently requires the notice is to be sent at least 15 days, but no more than 30 days prior to the election. And as we know, in recent years, an increasing number of voters have been choosing to take advantage of the option of early voting. And consequently, many of these voters are casting their ballots before they receive the information from the school district. So Senate File 3475 will simply extend the timeline for sending the referendum notice up to 45 days prior to the election. And this would better align with the start of the early voting period and help ensure that taxpayers are receiving the appropriate information about their local referendum before they cast the ballot. And now, of course, with the current situation, hopefully people will receive their information in time for this fall's election as well. And Madam Chair, if you don't mind, I do have Andrea Keene, Chair of the Wayzata School Board, and also the Chair of the AMSD, Association of Metropolitan School Districts. She's with us today to testify in support of the bill.
Thank you, Senator Anderson. Before we hop into our testifying, I just want to ask, it is a very straightforward bill. Thank you, Senator Anderson. I do want to just give council a moment to walk through the bill if there are any additional comments. And that would be Ms. Butler, Ms. Lewis.
It would more likely be one of the other gals, but there's no additional comments. Senator Anderson explained it thoroughly.
Great. All right. Hearing no other comments from council, Ms. Joseph, did you have a comment? Okay. All right. We are ready then for the testifiers. Welcome to the committee. Andrea, if you would kindly introduce yourself for the Zoom record and to begin your testimony.
Madam Chair and members of the committee, my name is Andrea Keene, and I'm a member of the Wayzata School Board, and I also have the pleasure this year as serving as the chair of the Association of Metro School Districts. Thank you for the opportunity to speak in favor of Senate File 3475. I have also been asked to indicate support for this bill from the following organizations: the Minnesota School Board Association, the Minnesota Association of School Administrators, Schools for Equity in Education, and the Minnesota Rural Education Association. I also want to thank Senator Paul Anderson for sponsoring this bill. Under current law, school districts conducting a referendum are required to mail a notice to each taxpayer with information about the referendum question. This notice provides important information to the taxpayers, including the anticipated amount of increase over the existing referendum levy in annual dollars for typical residential properties, agricultural homesteads, apartments, and commercial industrial properties that are located within the school district. It's important that taxpayers receive this information prior to casting their ballot so they can make an informed decision. However, it's become a challenge in recent years to ensure taxpayers receive the notice in a timely manner. Under current law, the notice must be sent at least 15 days, but not more than 30 days prior to the date of the election. With an increasing number of voters choosing to take advantage of early voting in recent years, many voters are casting their ballot before they receive the notice. Senate File 3475 would extend the timeline for sending the notice from 30 to 45 days prior to the election to better align with the beginning of early voting and to better inform our taxpayers. That, in a nutshell, is what the bill does. I'm not aware of any opposition to the bill, and I thank you for your consideration and for the opportunity to share a few comments. Thank you, Madam Chair and members.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Keene, and thank you for serving on the school board. That is such a weighty job, and you have so many decisions to make that are so critical for our students. So thank you for your service there. Well, it sounds like a good government bill. Members, any comments or questions for Senator Anderson or Ms. Keene? Seeing none. Senator Anderson, thank you for bringing forth this good government bill. We will lay this on the table. Thank you so much. Or excuse me, it'll be laid over for possible movement in our next phase. All right, thank you.
Excuse me. Madam Chair, I believe my hand was up.
Senator Uyghur.
Yes, thank
Senator
you,
Uyghur.
ma'am. Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Absolutely support the bill. And you mentioned the next phase. I was wondering why this couldn't go to the consent calendar soon. I know it was announced as no action, but with the time
Yes.
closing in, just curious regarding next
Yes.
phase, et cetera.
Yes, Senator Uyghur, that is a very good question. We are moving, we don't have a lot of time left. What we saw in our hearing earlier this week was that sometimes these non-controversial bills were getting bogged down. I don't want that to happen. I want to make sure that these type of bills are able to get across the finish line. So we're just going to set the bill aside. And the goal, Senator Uyghur, is to get as many of these non-controversial bills that we all have worked on so hard, that are so important for our students, for their teachers, for our school districts, and also for their funding, to make sure that the appropriated money gets out to them and that we provide that security through the forecast article as well. So we're going to continue down that road. And we know it's hard to offer amendments in our Zoom committee because you got to get them to people ahead of time and you need to post them publicly. And we had a little bit of problems with that before. So we'll lay these aside. And I appreciate the good comments about the bill, Senator Uyghur, and the comments in general too, about working together to get these important things out the door soon. So
thank you, Madam Chair. Since we have the
Senator Uyghur, yes, sir.
Yes, Madam Chair, just in recognition of our testifier, I would like to ask a question just related to balloting, if that would be okay.
Oh, please, Senator Uyghur, this is just the right time for questions. Go ahead, please.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, and to the testifier. Any thoughts regarding the upcoming elections this year, recognizing that there are a lot of voting precincts that are in schools, concerns about social distancing, there's alternatives, but has this been a matter of a conversation amongst your colleagues through AMSD or at your local school board level?
Madam Chair, Senator Uyghur, thank you for that important question. I think the answer to your question would be yes, but without a lot of details. I think our teachers and our administrations have been working so hard to try to get distance learning up and running, as I'm sure you know from your own community. And I would say that they are extremely overwhelmed by that job right now. However, we are starting to have to think about what happens in the summer and what happens in the fall. And that certainly is a big part of what's going to be happening this fall. So I think it's a good reminder that as we move forward, thinking of some of our educational facilities are also polling places. We need to make sure we're, first of all, putting the safety of our students and our communities first, and move forward with those thoughts as we make those plans with all the unknowns we really have right now. But it's a great question. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Keene.
Yes, yeah,
Senator
thank
Weaver,
you.
do you have a follow-up?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you. And we salute everyone for their efforts and rolling out distance learning. And we are on a course to make improvements of whatever we can do. But on the point of voting and recognizing how that can, because of the circumstances, have an impact on education and what you're trying to do during these trying times, some additional guidance from school boards might be helpful as we are still in session, with the recognition that we will be looking at proposals that would have that impact. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Thank you for that comment, Senator Weaver. Ms. Keene.
Madam Chair, Senator Weaver, thank you. Senator Weigel, I'll be sure to take those comments back to the Association of Metro School Districts so we can continue to talk about that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments? Senator Weaver, I still see your hand. So if you want to take that down, that'd be great. I'm going to try and catch all those blue hands today. All right. I do not see any other comments. We will set Senate File 3475 aside. Members, our second bill for the day is Senate File 4257. And I believe there is an A2 amendment that has been posted. And I just want to check with staff and members to make sure they have that A2 amendment. And I'll pull it up here myself. All right, and I'm going to speak to the bill without the amendment at this point, and we have the amendment for discussion reasons. So members, this bill updates the language of the state's program for teachers that need additional credits to meet the concurrent requirements of the Higher Learning Commission. I know many of us were quite frustrated several years ago when the Higher Learning Commission unilaterally imposed these additional 18 required credits that our concurrent enrollment teachers needed to take, even though they had been teaching concurrent enrollment. And of course, the results speak for themselves. Higher GPAs, higher graduation rates, and of course, lower student debt. So we're highly supportive, and it was very bipartisan support for concurrent enrollment. The program today that we're talking about is a novel program, which you might recall sprung up from the Northwest region of our state. And that was to provide online training for our teachers who needed those additional 18 credits. And it's continued to expand to other parts of the state as well. I can say, as being a teacher myself and getting my master's at the same time, it is helpful to be able to have that online digital ability to take those courses at the time when you can. The new policy language in the bill will allow for more incentives to be created for districts and education instructors. The bill would also provide an additional $1 million of funding in fiscal year 21. Because of the tight financial circumstances that we find ourselves in now, advocates have expressed an interest in the cost-neutral A2 amendment. And so that's what we have before you. We just find it's difficult to look at appropriating additional funds at this point. And there has been no additional appropriations for the Senate for the E12 committee at this point. With these introductory comments, I would like the Senate Council to walk through the details of Senate File 4257. Is that Ms. Jelsa?
Yes,
Continue,
thank you,
please.
Madam Chair and committee members. Senate File 4257, we'll start with Subdivision 1. It provides some definitions. So it updates the Northwest Regional Partnership name to Concurrent Enrollment Teacher Partnership. It adds that the Metropolitan Educational Cooperative Service Unit and other interested Minnesota state colleges and universities can be part of the partnership. And then it clarifies that Lakes Country Service Cooperative is a fiscal host for the Concurrent Enrollment Teacher Partnership. Moving on to Subdivision 2, it goes over the establishment for the partnership, and then it updates the new name to the Concurrent Enrollment Teacher Partnership. Subdivision 3 reviews the curriculum development, and it removes some language for clarity. On page 2, line 22, Subdivision 4 reviews the funding for course participation, course development, and participation incentives. It requires that funding be available for eligible teachers to participate in the program. Then it states the partnership may provide funding for course development in applicable post-secondary subject areas, work with school districts to develop incentives for teachers to participate in the program, and enroll college faculty as space permits, and provide financial assistance if the state aid remains available. Subdivision 5, the number 5 was left out, but this is technical and can be fixed. Subdivision 6 goes over private funding and removes outdated language. Subdivision 7 requires a report and removes outdated language. And then lastly, on page 3, line 27, Section 2 provides funding for the Concurrent Enrollment Teacher Training Program, and it updates the appropriation for fiscal year 2021, as well as adds a base budget for the program. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jelson. Members, are there any questions on the bill? You'll require that in the past, this has been broadly bipartisan support across our education community. And it's a way to, again, try and help teachers get those needed additional hours. I see Senator Klassen's hand. Senator Klassen. You'll have to unmute your mic, please.
There we go. I think everybody can hear me now.
Yes.
Very good. Well, again, Senator Nelson, thanks for bringing this bill forward. As we know, we do have an extension, but by 2022, our teachers in Minnesota need to have certification and endorsement to teach the dual credit courses. And a couple things that I'd like to share. I just received an update from District 196, the Rosemount Apple Valley Egan Public Schools. Last school year, students in that district earned over 6,100 credits, college credits, at a valued cost of $3.1 million. And this is just a great program for our families, for our students, and for the state of Minnesota to really help students get ahead on their college expenses. I think on two sides of this, if I correctly interpret where the funding's coming from, the funding is actually going to be coming from the concurrent enrollment aid. Is that correct?
Yes, that is the A2 amendment, Senator Klassen.
And it's a little bit of a double-edged sword, because right now that fund does not fully fund the costs that the school districts entail for students that are enrolled in those dual credit courses. So by reducing that, that means that the costs are going to go up for districts. On the other hand, I think it's important at this point that we do need to move ahead with this program. We need to train teachers. We need to have that program to continue for our students and our schools in Minnesota. But we, with the fact knowing that it is going to have an impact on the costs that school districts will have to take out of their general fund, because the per pupil allocation coming back to pay for those credits is going to be less. But this is an important bill for the future of our state, and I appreciate you bringing it forward, and I appreciate being one of the co-authors, so thank you.
Oh, thank you, Senator Klassen. And I do want to thank all of the co-authors on the bill, and that would be Senator Klassen, Senator Thomasoni, Senator Eichhorn, and Senator Anderson. And Senator Klassen, you're right. We're in a tough spot. we just don't have any guarantee of any additional funding. And I know that a number of our school officials have already spoken about the concerns about what next year is going to look like in this budget year. And we just have to keep all of those things in mind. And that's why the A2 amendment is there. And we're going to lay both, well, first I'll see if there's any other comments. Members, are there any other comments on Senate File 4257 and the potential A2 amendment? Seeing none, I'll continue there. And so we're going to lay over 4257 and that potential A2 amendment. It's almost impossible to move forward with this bill at this time without it being cost neutral. And so we've looked at a way to further make sure that our teachers are getting that preparation that they need so those all-important concurrent enrollment classes can move forward. So I would encourage members, as you hear from your districts, or if you have any comments, do please send them to me, as we'll, obviously the time is short and we'll be making decisions shortly about moving forward. And just to remind members, we're working on consensus items. And so if there's any concern, this is the time to hear it, right? Maybe not right today, but do please reach out to me with any concerns. Senator Uyghur.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. So I make sure I understand, if there is a fiscal note on a bill, we at this point would be preempted from further reviewing it?
Well, I'm not sure what your question is about reviewing.
Are we going to still entertain proposals if there's a fiscal note?
Not without a way to pay for them. So we're the Finance Committee, and for bills to move forward, we have to have a way to pay for those bills,
Okay.
just like we always do. So the goal is to move those things forward that there's consensus on, or if there's a financial cost, there's a way to pay for them.
Thank you.
Yes. Any further comments? Senator Uyghur, your hand is still up. If you can take that down, please. I want to make sure and recognize you for the next comment. With that, any further comments? I don't
Nelson,
see
we
any.
have some testifiers.
Oh, yes, please. Thank you, Mr. Marcus. The testifiers can help greatly as we wade through this. Our first testifier, I'm afraid I don't have the list here. Greg, could you call up our first testifier? Jeremy Kovash, welcome to the committee. Introduce yourself for the record, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, Madam Chair and Committee. I'm Jeremy Kovash, Executive Director of Lakes Country Service Cooperative, which is headquartered in Fergus Falls. Thank you for hearing Senate File 4257 today. This is a vital program for Minnesota schools to continue offering concurrent enrollment courses for our students. The 2016 legislature responded to the Higher Learning Commission's credentialing challenge by creating a pilot program, as the chair indicated, in Northwest Minnesota to help teachers attain graduate credits in their content areas for the concurrent enrollment courses they were teaching. The $3 million original grant helped us to begin the process of creating graduate courses and admitting high school teachers into Minnesota State University Moorhead for master's level coursework. MSUM, Minnesota State University Moorhead, stepped up as a partner, offering graduate credits for our enrollees at a discounted tuition rate, which they remain committed to now and into the future. Thanks to this committee and Chair Nelson, the 2017 legislature redefined the program and made it a statewide initiative. We have also worked with other higher education partners to deliver graduate courses in additional subject areas. As for the HLC challenge, we are making significant progress. In 2016, we worked with higher ed and estimated that concurrent enrollment instructors were short approximately 15,000 graduate credits. Your support for 18 Online has closed that gap by nearly 9,000 of those credits for teachers in 250 school districts across the state. The original $3 million grant will be completely spent this fall as the teacher of cohorts finish their coursework. Moving forward, we do have a base budget of $375,000 a year, but this will only run 18 Online at 1/3 of its capacity. Moving forward, it is imperative we continue running 18 online at full capacity. We have teachers who have started attaining their content graduate credits, and we don't want them to fall off track. We don't want to shut down many of the subject areas we are offering. With the appropriation for 18 online you're considering today with Senate File 4257 as amended, we can deliver 55 courses per year, which adds up to 3,000 graduate credits earned on an annual basis for teachers across the state of Minnesota. I would like to pause here, Madam Chair, and have my colleague, Ms. Lewis with the Minnesota School Board Association add her testimony, and we'll stand for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Kovash. Ms. Lewis, welcome to the committee. You don't need an introduction, but please do so for the record.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and Committee. My name is Kim Lewis, and I'm with the Minnesota School Boards Association. Today, I'm also speaking on behalf of several education organizations, like Ms. Keene did, and that would be the Association of Metropolitan School Districts, Minnesota Rural Education Association, Schools for Equity in Education, Minnesota Association of School Administrators, and the Minnesota Association of Secondary School Principals. Mr. Kovash provided just an excellent explanation of the success of the 18 online program that they've had to date. And with the current uncertainty of the state budget and what they're facing, and the fact that credentialing our teachers is a necessity for our students to continue to take these great courses, is what brings us here today. I want to convey our support collectively for the A2 amendment that makes it a cost-neutral proposal to the state budget and allows us to move forward. We really appreciate your willingness to repurpose a portion of that concurrent enrollment aid to the 18 online program. And just to share just a couple of data points, a study by the Graduate Program Consortium of Concurrent Enrollment Instructors mapped the landscape of the concurrent enrollment planning from the perspectives of high school instructors and administrators, as well as the Minnesota State Concurrent Enrollment Directors. And they found 79% of school administrators report that their instructors still need some graduate credits to maintain or become eligible to teach concurrent enrollment. And 99% of administrators report that concurrent enrollment is a priority for their district. So this bill is really something that will go a long way for all our districts across Minnesota. Targeting the resources necessary to run the 18 online at full capacity will help schools continue their concurrent enrollment partnerships with higher education institutions. And it's these partnerships that truly close the opportunity gap for students by helping potential newcomers to higher education find their way into coursework, and therefore opening a whole new world of opportunity for them. So we appreciate your consideration. We appreciate your support of Senate File 4257, and I'm happy to stand for any questions.
Oh, thank you, Ms. Lewis. Thank you very much. Members, are there any questions or comments for our testifiers? I don't see any hands, but I do want to thank the groups, particularly. It is so helpful, particularly when we're in the midst of a pandemic. We have our committee times have been shortened, they're virtual. It is incredibly helpful for you to have done that work with your sister organizations and to bring a united front to this committee. I cannot thank you and tell you how impactful and how important that is to hear that our education groups are supporting this. And I would just say, when the HLC 18 credit hour came out, one of my school districts immediately gave me the numbers. That translated into closing nine concurrent classrooms. Imagine that. 270 kids suddenly could not get concurrent enrollment. So I really appreciate what has started in the Northwest, and that it's online, it's available to teachers throughout the entire state. That is our goal. So thank you very much for making that happen. Senator
Madam
Clausen.
Chair.
Oh, yes, Ms. Lewis.
And just thank you for acknowledging all of our work together. It is an interesting way of working with the legislature, and we do appreciate that you notice the efforts that we've put forth for you.
Absolutely.
And on behalf of all of our students.
Thank you. Senator Clausen. You'll need to unmute your mic, please. Unmute your mic, please. Lower left-hand corner. should, if you roll your mouse down to the bottom of your screen, your menu bar will pop up. It hides when your mouse isn't there. So roll your mouse down to the bottom of the screen. You should see the menu. There you go. Senator Clausen.
I lost contact with you there for a moment, so I apologize.
Yes.
Mr. Kovash, I just have a question. If I remember correctly, back in 2014, that these credits were going to be delivered at a slightly reduced rate for teachers. Many of the teachers already had a master's degree. Some were close to retirement. Could you comment on that, please? I'd appreciate it.
Mr. Kovac.
Senator Clausen, Madam Chair, yes, we worked with Minnesota State University Moorhead. They have delivered that coursework at a rate of about 60% off on the dollar. So they have charged us $225 per credit, which is again about 60 cents on the dollar, or 40 cents on the dollar. We continue. So, and by the way, the high school concurrent enrollment teachers that are enrolled in the courses pay zero at this time through our program. So that is our expectation to continue that. And the rationale for that, Senator Clausen, as you're well aware, is that many of the teachers who teach these courses are all the way on the far, what I would call the far right-hand side of the salary schedule. So you are correct. We are working with MSUM and other higher ed institutions to keep those tuition rates down. That's part of the role that Lakes Country Service Cooperative plays. Thank you.
Thank you for that
Senator
response.
Clausen.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for that response, and that's a great service. Really appreciate that to help the teachers achieve those 18 credits or more. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Clausen. Any further comments for our testifiers or questions? Seeing none, are there any testifiers who choose to speak in opposition to the bill or the amendment? Seeing none, we will lay both aside. And then we have a third bill today. I just want to say I applaud the innovation, the online learning, the cost containment, the high academic content that is wrapped up in this initiative. It is ideas like this that we need to see more of in the future. And I thank all of you who were leaders in envisioning this and in moving it forward to more of a statewide opportunity for our teachers. So thank you so much. Now, members, our third bill today is Senate File 4057. Most of the language in Senate File 4057 comes from 2017 session law. The bill proposes that the 2017 language be codified with some expanded provisions. The pandemic has clearly demonstrated the need for innovation in education. Our schools are ready to think differently. They are teaching differently than they did before this pandemic. The bill before you requests no appropriation. It has no mandates. And most importantly, nobody has to join. It only permits schools to design new models for students in today's world. This bill encourages schools to research new ways to close the achievement gap, to personalize learning, and empower teachers as part of school leadership. This enables learning to take place 24/7 and year-round. Partner with post-secondary and private sector for better careers at cost savings for families. This bill provides flexibility by exempting schools from select laws to remove barriers to innovation. Applicants must adhere to the grad standards, state testing, and licensed teachers. It requires the commissioner to approve applications that include the exemptions in this bill. The 2017 bill was not clear in some cases, and some of the district exemption requests were not approved. In fact, none of them were approved, causing some districts to drop off the projects. The bill has wide support from the education community. It was drafted by a group that is called Superintendent's Innovative Discussion Group. Supporting education organizations include Minnesota School Board Association, MASA, MREA, AMSD, and the principals. And again, I appreciate the group effort here. With those introductory comments, I would ask Senate Council to walk through the details of Senate File 4257. And I think it's important as you do to identify what is new in the legislation. Of course, most of this is exactly what was in the 2017. So members, who is going to walk through this bill for us today?
Senator Nelson. Oh, I will do it. Yes. Let me pull up two things. Okay. So Section 1, Subdivision 1 establishes the Innovation Research Zone program, and it allows the program to improve student and school outcomes by creating new and different models of education. In paragraph B, it allows one or more school district or charter schools to join together to form the partnership, and additional partnership members may be schools or other non-school partners, such as other units of government or other types of organizations. And then the paragraph C is a requirement that the partnership must research and implement their innovative programs and models that are based on their proposed hypotheses, and provides examples of possible research-based or innovative programs. And it's a list of, I think, about 16 possibilities. There are some that are new from the 2017 legislation. So I'll try to point out the ones that I recall that are a newer model that is being discussed. If you go down to, let me see, I think one of the bigger ones is on page 3.1 number 12. It's allowing a innovation research partnership to grant a high school diploma to a student who meets the graduation requirements and demonstrates preparation for post-secondary or career, consistent with the district's world's best workforce goals. As long as they've met the following requirements: it's 4 years of high school, they've completed at least 1 year of post-secondary education at a 2 or a 4-year college, through either concurrent enrollment, advanced placement, or international baccalaureate, or they've completed the requirements for a career certification up to the apprenticeship program level, if one exists. Another newer provision, I believe, is number 14, which allows the partnership to use.
Ms. Lewis, can you point to the point it out to us in the bill, please?
On the bill number, it's at page 3.15.
Thank you.
So again, clause number 14 there. So that allows the partnership to use the provisions of the learning year statute for a student in grades 10, 11, or 12 to participate in career technical programs, either after school, weekends, or during school breaks. And that includes the summer, and be able to include those that participation in the general education revenue computation. Then going on paragraph D, which gets you to towards the bottom of page 3, that is a description or the required inclusions for the Innovation Research Zone plan that is submitted to the commissioner. And then paragraph E on page 4.6, the allows for the partnership to extend their membership to other partners with a unanimous approval of the existing partners, as well as approval by the commissioner, and provides an effective date for when that partner would be part of the partnership. Paragraph F allows the participating school districts or charter schools, they continue to receive all their revenues and maintains taxation authority as they were before they, if they were not participating in the partnership, as well as they continue to be organized and governed by their boards. And also the employee remains subject to the employee agreements. Paragraph G, which is at page 4, line 20, allows the partnership to submit their plan to commissioner and in the form and manner that the commissioner requires. The commissioner then has to approve or reject each plan after receiving a recommendation from the advisory panel, which is established in a later paragraph or subdivision. And then if a plan is rejected, yes, then the partnership is allowed to resubmit that plan based on the recommendations that the commissioner gave for rejecting the plan. Subdivision 2 starts on page 4, line 26, and it allows for the exemptions that are contained in an approved plan, that the district or charter school is exempt from those. And it provides examples of some of the laws and requirements that an approved partnership could be exempt from. Some of those include the of getting approval for an online learning program to be a provider, or also to an exemption from restrictions on when extending learning time revenue may be used, and also for who provides for or decides if a course meets the rigorous course of study waiver requirements. It allows, instead of the school board, allows the principal or a site leader to make that decision. Then paragraph B allows, which is, let me see where that is, page 5, line 14. Paragraph B allows the school or charter school, the district or the charter school, to use general funds to accomplish the provisions of their plan. Then there's some clarification on paragraph C, page 5, line 17, clarifies that the exemptions that are listed are not to be construed to exempt the students from the Minnesota Comprehensive Assessments, required academic standards, and other graduation requirements. Subdivision 3 is the establishment of the Innovation Research Zone Advisory Panel, and that is a 9-member panel, which lists the organizations that provide 1 member. Then the commissioner also appoints 1 member with expertise in evaluation and research. Then getting to subdivision 4, which is starting at the bottom of page 5, line 31. The advisory panel gives recommendations to the commissioner, upon which the commissioner must approve, not approve, or request added information from partnerships and their plan. And if the application includes an exemption, then the commissioner must grant that exemption by approving the plan. And then the number of innovation research zone plans are limited by allowing up to 6 in the 7-county metro area, and then up to 6 in greater Minnesota. And then there also provides for suspending or terminating the partnership if the partnership fails to implement the plan as described, or according to the timeline that they have submitted in their plan. And then paragraph B on page 6, line 9, requires the commissioner to annually publish a list of the exemptions that are granted on the agency's website. Subdivision 5 is page 6, line 12, allows for evaluations, dissemination of information, and report to the legislature. Requires the commissioner at least every 2 years to analyze each zone's progress in meeting their objectives that they stated in their plan. And then the commissioner has to summarize those and categorize the plans and submit a report to the legislature by February. Subdivision 6 is page 6, line 20, allows for those existing partnerships that had approved plan under the 2017 law to submit an amendment to their plan consistent with this new law, and they're not required to go through the approval process. Then section 2 is appropriation, and that is an appropriation for the commissioner to provide planning and implementation grants to partnerships. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Lewis. Thank you for the walkthrough. I just want to ask, before we get to our testifiers, if members have questions for the moment, or if we can go right to our testifiers. I don't think I see any hands. So our first testifier is no stranger to education. Bob Wadle, who is the lead now of Superintendent's Innovation Discussion Group co-chair. Welcome to the committee. Former commissioner under, former MDE commissioner under, I believe it was Governor Carlson. Mr. Wadle, welcome to the committee. Please introduce yourself for the group and let us hear from you.
Well, good afternoon, Madam Chair and members. It is good to be back with you, but I'd rather be in the Senate building
Yes.
rather than in my TV room. But anyway, my name is Bob Wadle, and I am the one of the co-directors of an informal group called the Superintendent's Innovation Discussion Group. This is a group of about 30 superintendents from around the state that have expressed a real interest in real significant innovation, redesign of some of the things that they are currently doing. We're not a 501c3. I'm not a lobbyist. There is no money involved in this. We're just 30 people that are that really understand that in order to get the kind of education we really need, we do have to do some things very different. And so that's what this group is really all about. Any number of them did submit applications under the previous innovation zone law of both 2017, and you also enacted one in 2012, which this is all building on. Now you might ask, well, then why do we need to have some amendments to that bill? And I might ask or add that what the legal counsel for your committee reviewed, as she indicated, most of that you've already adopted in previous sessions. So we're just adding a few additional items that indeed are significant, but that will enable districts to do greater innovation than they currently have. So what the additions do is they provide additional opportunities and ask you to give local boards more flexibility from some of the laws and rules, not the grad standards, not state testing, not teacher licensure, just other ways how the day-to-day system of schooling is controlled. And these superintendents are saying we need some expanded flexibility in order to do our work. So what the bill does, as the Senate Council laid out, is it does provide a number of examples for what innovative areas are really needed to close achievement gaps, to improve the readiness for our career and our workforce and things of that nature, and also how to make sure kids are coming to school better prepared, which will directly impact then their literacy performance as measured by our MCAs. the chair did a great job of reviewing some of the key elements of the bill. I just want to add a few items. First of all, that it aligns directly with the world's best workforce law. So you're not changing anything in that regard. I really see this as a local empowerment bill, trusting local boards and their teams of administrators and teachers to come up with new ways to try to improve learning. And I just want to touch on a few that superintendents are already talking about doing. One is, if we've learned anything in the past couple of weeks, is that students are very resilient and they're doing an awful lot of learning on their own. And of course, under the guidance of teachers. But even before this pandemic came before us, these superintendents are saying, gosh, these kids are going online. They're learning all kinds of things. Many of them, for example, are learning Algebra 1, and then they come back to school and they take Algebra 1. Why can't we just give them credit for what they have learned independently, all by themselves, have a teacher validate that, yes, in fact, they have met the standards, and then give them credit for it? We've just saved a ton of time for kids already learning online for free, and we've given them credit. And all kinds of examples exist like that. So rather than kids taking Algebra 1, they immediately move on to more advanced math or whatever. So that's just one example. Another one is, if you go out to the University of Minnesota Arboretum, you see students working out there with biologists with their doctoral degrees in biology. But yet those students are picking up a lot of biology and botany, but yet aren't able to get credit for that. So those are just a few examples how some schools want to take advantage of what students are learning outside of school and provide them credit so that they can use their time better in school. Others are already talking about new ways to close the achievement gap. How many decades have we been talking about closing the achievement gap? We cannot just try to do what we are currently doing better. We need to start and try things new. And some of these superintendents and their literacy teams have excellent ideas about what it is that they want to really do. Other districts really want to research new models of assessment, new models of evaluation. They'll continue doing the MCAs, but they know that they can come up with better ways to assess and evaluate. Another key one that a number of districts are just waiting to do is the redesign of high school, where students will be getting into their career programs sooner. And these are students that would just as soon not hang around in Principal Greg Clausen's Rosemont High School. They want to get on with their life. They want to learn a career and move on. So what this bill provides is that they can start their career training in the summer, especially with the kinds of classes where you really need 3-4 hours at a time. You really can't do welding in 50 minutes or construction in 50 minutes. So they would generate aid for the learning year program, but the bill provides they must graduate early. So it is really cost neutral. It's a way for districts to use current revenue differently. Kids will get their welding certification or their construction certification or whatever up to the apprenticeship, and they'll be able to move right into middle class paying jobs at no higher ed cost to them. And this is, I know, something that Senator Paul Anderson is really interested in with higher ed. Well, and I'm sure your committee as well. So all of the provisions in this bill, the way we've drafted it, are cost neutral. And so I understand there is a fiscal note that we'll have to review, of course, as will you. But the way the bill has been designed is that it is not going to be an added cost. It will permit school boards to use one revenue differently, not more revenue, but just be able to move things around in categories that they perhaps haven't used before. So in summary, Madam Chair, our superintendents are really anxious to have this bill adopted. And I know MSBA or Madam Chair, you've mentioned all of the organizations that are supporting this bill. Superintendents are anxious to start with some of them already this summer. So we do hope that you'll look at this bill positive. Some of the superintendents are saying it's time to make Minnesota bold again. And this bill certainly will enable a number of districts to really innovate and really move all of our students along to great success. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Wadle. Senator Torsroy, I see your hand. And what I'd like to do is continue. We have 2 more testifiers. And then if you could, our testifiers will stay with us. So you can make a comment or question to whichever testifiers you'd like. So I do see your hand and you'll be first on the list as we get through our final 2 testifiers here. Danica Leonard, welcome to the committee. Policy Director for Education Evolving, and I believe members, you received a letter of support as well. Danica, if you could introduce yourself for the committee, please.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Danica Leonard, and I'm the Policy Director for Education Evolving. It is a nonpartisan organization that works to advance student-centered learning for all students. By supporting teachers who are designing and leading schools and by advocating for policy that allows for thoughtful innovations across the state in schools. We believe that policy must enable and support innovation by creating space, removing barriers, and a climate of encouragement. I'm here to testify in support of Senate File 4057. This bill will codify and strengthen the previous Innovation Research Zone Law, which Education Evolving advocated for in 2017. It will allow schools, districts, and charter schools greater flexibility to use research to map uncharted waters and implement innovative education methods. We also support the new language that reduces time-consuming bureaucracy by simplifying the IRZ approval process and granting exemptions concurrently with commissioner approval of innovation zone plans. This would address the frustration we heard from educators who applied for innovation zones under the 2017 law. For many exemptions they sought were left unapproved without a clear explanation. Prior to the schools moving to distance learning, we heard a lot this session about problems getting in the way of serving all students in Minnesota. At a time when there's a lot of exasperation about not knowing how to solve these problems, it has become more apparent now than ever that we must begin to map uncharted waters. It's critical that we keep nurturing a culture of innovation and of trying new things to see what can work. This bill provides important flexibility and state leadership for innovative approaches like personalized learning, competency-based education, anytime, anywhere learning, and other pedagogies. Educators have clearly demonstrated during this pandemic that education must adapt and innovate to meet the evolving needs of and demographics of our students, and that the authority to innovate cannot be limited to our crisis response. We've seen schools and districts move mountains by adjusting instructions in response to COVID-19 distance learning executive order. We've seen schools work to prevent the further widening of the state's achievement gap down the line. I asked the committee to see innovation research zones as an opportunity to discover and replicate what works for Minnesota students now and in the future. Thank you, Senator Nelson, Senator Uyghur, for your leadership and support in this bill and your efforts toward codifying policies that will benefit all students.
Thank you, Danica. We will have one more testifier, and then members, if you can hold your questions, we'll have all testifiers available for you. Krista Kaput, Research Director at Allies. Welcome to the committee, Krista. If you could introduce yourself for the record, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Krista Caput, and I am the Research Director for Ed Allies, an advocacy organization that works to advance educational equity and remove barriers so all Minnesota students can receive a rigorous and engaging education. And I'm here to support Senate File 4057. Ed Allies supported the 2017 Innovation Research Zone legislation, and we support this iteration because we believe that it could help improve student outcomes by creating the opportunity for teachers to provide each child with an education that is student-centered, meaning it celebrates who students are, how they learn, and where they want to go, while at the same time being rigorous and aligned to the state-adopted standards. In particular, we strongly support the provision which ensures that innovation zones have to administer standards-based assessments that are aligned to the state standards and comparable across schools and student groups, which is an important objective measure that would help inform whether the innovations are working. Across the country, school districts like Denver, Memphis, and Chicago have implemented innovation zones, and they have seen promising improvements in student outcomes in reading and math. Given these findings and Minnesota's persistent and unjustifiable achievement gaps, innovation zones could be one way that we help to bridge that gap. Thank you, Madam Chair and Senator Uygur, for your leadership on this issue, and thank you all for your time.
Thank you very much, Ms. Caput. Now, I see Senator Torres Ray, did you have a question or comment?
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you so much for the opportunity. I had a question for Mr. Wadle and his comments about what superintendents are doing with respect to the proposal in this bill. The balance between what we have to do for our achievers in the classroom versus the students who are behind is a very complicated balance. We have to kind of create, the opportunities and the innovation for those very bright students, very achievers who want to move fast. And then we also have to figure out how do we create opportunities for students who are behind, who just don't have access to technology. And I am wondering how the superintendents are actually kind of talking about this balance. I think there is a tendency to talk a lot about, what we need to do to address the achievement gap and to help students who are behind. And, I kind of want to hear the practical steps that people are in terms of technology and, innovative, bold ideas that provide those opportunities for both, the students who are really behind and then the students who really are ahead of everybody and they need to move. Do we separate? Do we have special programs for one or the other? I'm curious about what he sees right now, in the field. I don't know if we have enough time for an answer for that, but I'm curious to see what the superintendents are talking about in terms of how do we narrow this gap, but also continue to, make sure that there is growth for each cohort of students to move to where they need to go.
Thank you, Senator Torres Ray. That's a very well-formed question. Mr. Wadle.
Thank you, Senator Torres Ray, Madam Chair. Yeah, I think you're really hitting the nail on the head. What we're proposing here isn't answers. What we're proposing is a way for communities to work together, to innovate, to try different things, because not everything they're currently doing is working as well as they want it to be. So I think in the past, we often have bills that you're considering that where solutions are being proposed. What we're proposing here is a process for arriving at those solutions and getting some exemptions that will permit local communities to implement some of the new ideas that they have. So, we don't pretend to have all of the answers or a lot of the answers, but we do know that by giving, by empowering teachers at schools, by empowering boards to be able to make decisions about how to use revenue, that some of those issues can be addressed. And I'll just give you one example. In the bill, it talks about the use of extended school revenue. Well, much of that revenue is used after school. Well, what if the kids don't stay in after school programs? What the bill suggests is that that board can say, we're going to use some of the after school revenue during the school day when the kids are there. That right now, you can't do that. So that's just one example why this bill is really needed to get at some of the issues that that Senator Torres Ray is really addressing.
Thank you, Mr. Waddell. Further comments or follow-up? Senator Swadzynski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't know if I have a question as much as a comment. Mr. Waddell, you had said earlier that teachers will validate, in order for a child to move from Algebra 1 to Algebra 2. First of all, before I tell you that, innovation, flexibility, public-private partnerships, wonderful, wonderful ideas. The concern I have is, are we going to be putting more things on teachers' plates instead of taking stuff off teachers' plates so they can do the wonderful work that is necessary to move our state forward? And one of the things you had said was teachers will validate in order for a child to move from Algebra 1 to Algebra 2. And I just want to tell you, my concern there is a few years ago, probably 20 now, a program like that was started at Eden Prairie where kids could test out of American government. And the administration just passed this edict, if you will, that said, if a kid wants to test out of government, it's up to the government teachers to determine if that child should move on. So we found ourselves meeting with kids during our prep hour, after school, after the kids' athletic programs at 6 o'clock at night, before school, in order to validate if in fact they could be exempt from moving, from requiring to take an American government class. So when I hear things like the teachers will validate whether or not the child moves on, I just wonder if we're putting more stuff on the teacher's workload and making them at the price of their regular class load. And so just more of an FYI, I applaud that there's one teacher on the committee, on the advisory committee. I think that's a great step. I'm a little nervous of all the organizations you had mentioned that are endorsing this idea. Education Minnesota is not one organizations that's endorsing this notion. So I'd be curious to hear from them at some point. But otherwise, I applaud your efforts to innovate and more flexibility in our schools. Those are just some concerns and comments I'd like to share with the committee. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Swadzynski. Mr. Waddell, would you like to comment on either of those? Mr. Waddell.
Yes, I would. And Madam Chair and Senator, thank you for raising that. A couple of things. One is the bill requires the involvement of teachers at the site in coming up with the plan. So if the concern that you're raising is the teachers say that's not going to work at your school, then they wouldn't include it in their plan. So it's not a requirement. It's just an option for them to do, for them to use. So. And another thing, sometimes we don't intend to add things to the plate. What this bill is also about is removing things and doing things differently. It's not doing more things, it's doing things differently. And I think, as you and I walk into the high school of today in comparison to when you and I were in high school, and I'm sure I was in high school a lot longer ago than you were. But things are different today. They certainly are. So teachers are adapting and they are making modifications. But specific to your question, those are types of things that the local district, along with the teachers, would decide.
Thank you, Mr. Wadle. And just a couple of comments too, because I thought you asked some really good questions there, Senator Swedzinski. This is really a teacher empowerment bill. This empowers teachers to do things differently that they think will work for their students. So, and to Senator Torres Ray's question, we've been on a mission together to reduce this achievement gap. And one of the things that the innovation zones allow, of course, is individualized learning, and to Senator Swedzinski's point, competency-based learning. But of course, all the standards remain the same. So I don't see any additional testing or assessment necessary because all of the standards and the MCAs remain the same. So again, thank you very much for the great discussion. Are there any other comments, members, for the committee or questions for testifiers? I do not see any hands. I want to know if there are any testifiers who wish to testify against the bill. We have not heard any testimony against the bill, but we want to give an opportunity. So we've not heard any testimony against the bill. Members, this cannot wait till next session. Our work has been driven by the pandemic this session, and there's probably, well, healthcare as well, but the education structures, supports in our state have been stretched. There's a lot of stress. There's concerns about students. Are they going to be ready for next year? Parents who are working jobs and are now teaching. The first week, of course, all the comments were, wow, it is so hard to be a teacher, and how we appreciate those teachers that our kids have in school. But this has gone on now for several months. It's going to go on longer. Our kids aren't coming back to the school buildings at the end of this year. And if you, and I'm sure you've been watching as we go, many of us are on the health committee as well. And, you know, it's quite likely that the fall may see a resurgence. Until we get those vaccines, we may well see a resurgence of the coronavirus. And this is a time where we need to do our part and step up and allow our schools and their staff to do what they do best, which is meet individual students' needs. We just cannot ignore this. If there ever was a time that innovation in education was needed, it is now. And bless our schools. They have been innovating. To think that our teachers could take 3 months of curriculum and instruction and put it out in 8 days in a distance learning format, that is a huge effort. And they have done a good job, but we should empower teachers to do more. And that's what this bill does. Our schools are begging for us to pass this bill. They want to look at new models for the 21st century. And I think every one of us on this committee have talked about that. We need to give them the tools that they need. I will mention this is a bipartisan supported bill. Both Rep. Sandell and Rep. Erickson over in the House have been working this very hard as well. So are there any, Senator Torres Ray, I see your hand.
Madam Chair, I just wanted to make a comment. I agree with you. I think this is a great opportunity for us to do this work. I very much hope that we are able to work, with the districts to look into the funding that is coming from the federal government. 180 million for reimagining education is so significant. And so it seems to me that especially in this area, the federal government is just really interested in moving in the direction of supporting the state's efforts to do that. And so, you know, I know there is no funding attached to this or anything, but it seems that in our pursuit to, you know, make progress in this area, we could really encourage the state and the districts to pursue this funding from the feds that is very much targeted to specifically reimagine education and use technology and a new way of doing education. So I just wanted to make that comment because I think is you know, very relevant to what we want to do, that we now have these federal dollars that we can use.
Thank you, Senator Torres-Ray. I agree with you 100%, and that is we hope we can channel those federal dollars into these innovative type things that are really going to change the trajectory for so many kids. We will continue to work towards that end, and let's work together on that, Senator Torres-Ray. I think that is a marvelous goal, and our kids will be thankful, or their parents will be thankful, our job employers will be thankful. So again, members, thank you very much. We will lay Senate File 4257 on the table. With that, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Have a great evening.